All right,
Well,
welcome back to Breakfast Daily.
Yes.
Don't forget to hashtag Breakfast Daily.
Yes.
Send us any messages that you want to send. You can also send a WhatsApp message, 0550-585832. That's our WhatsApp number.
Yeah. And, yesterday we had this interesting conversation about premix fuel and the struggles that, fisher folk have had with premix, cost of it going up, hoarding issues, and all of that went on, has gone on for years, And the ministry has also been making attempts, starting from the previous minister, and then the current minister as well. So we have the current minister of fisheries talking about what it is that they are looking to do in terms of the interventions to make sure that this whole premix debacle becomes something of the past. Let's take a look at what she said yesterday.
Now would say na diversion, na for premix fuel strategy in very simple, collaboration and understanding. Eno na yede ato akwan mu nti afi we so sa na yebeye ye see diversion ne de yempe holding so yempe eno nti His Excellency the Vice President attacks me as the sector minister say opese me ye automation of the premix fuel nti nyame ya adomo a 2022 de ye be start me ne enkofo a omo hu nimde no asate edi hu kommo na enche bia fisher folks no so interested because all the premix fuel corner will be nya no be anya na I say did je ni emunamu na nenam but they have also come to believe say no automation na the yan say ukuta o wo ID card o subsidy no will be put on the ID card what the cost swap machine no so a e be bia ma na watumi enya wo fuel na wo de akoye wa dwuma nti ye be ye dwuma ye di 2021 na mini se nyame nti 2022 ye be san ye ne kese na fishes ni na.
All right, so that was a snippet of the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Honorable Hawa Kumson, explaining how they want to embark on this automation drive for premix fuel. Okay, now we also spoke to the person in charge of the Secretariat for Premix, Nana Broko Asari. Now, he gave us some insight into what the Secretariat has been doing to implement some of this. They've done a pilot, he says, in Nungua. Let's listen to what he said when we spoke to him yesterday on Breakfast Daily.
Let me begin with the pilot Premix at Nungua. It's been very, very, very successful. In fact, most fishermen who are not even residents in Nungua, who have had a chance to see it, are now asking us to replicate it across the country. And previously, we have issues of shortages. When the tanker drivers load fuel into the tanks, they complain of shortages. But that has become a thing of the past. And like I said, this discussion started way back with the former minister, and then the new minister too has also taken very keen interest in this project. As I speak to you now, it's a huge project. We have over 300 landing beaches across the country. And what government needs to do is to make sure that it really solves the problem that we are talking about. The Vice President, His Excellency, Dr. Mahmoud Bakwaumia, has charged the current minister to expedite action with regards to this project. And as I speak to you now, we have cabinet memos that has been approved. These projects are huge projects, and we'll have to make sure we exhaust all the procedures.
Okay, so you don't have any specific rollout dates?
I can confidently tell you that by the end of this year, majority of landing beaches across the country will have the system. As I speak to you now, even today we have a meeting with one of the service providers who is coming in to give us an overview of how the thing is going to work out. So we are working seriously at this project. Today, as I speak to you, on 12 o'clock, the minister and some team are meeting to give us an overview of how it's going to work. So definitely by the end of this year, I can confidently say that we will have this landing beaches, this automated system across the country.
So Mr. Sari, basically, I just want to have a picture of it because I don't understand the fishing space and how things work. But so what you're saying is that if by the end of this year, if we go to any of the landing beaches, what we will see is a regular filling station that's selling premix fuel. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the model is going to be
the like modern filling station that we're talking about.
Where we have dispensers and fishermen will have the cards.
Okay.
As I'm speaking now, the cards are even ready.
Okay.
That is, Premix for we have the marine and then the inland. We printed all the cards for the marine.
Okay.
That is Western region, Central region, Greater Accra region, and then Volta region.
Yeah.
We are just about to distribute the cards to the fishermen. So the cards are ready. What we need to do is find the structure or the hard components and then roll it up. So the ministry is really working at this with the necessary key that it desires. So we have to make sure we exhaust all the procurement processes and all the lay down routes.
All right, so that was Nana Abrokwa-Asare, the administrator for the National Premix Secretariat, talking to us about the Nungua pilot that they had. And so, of course, if you watched the show yesterday, Samalata Mensah, who happens to host Footprints here on City TV, was our guest on the show yesterday. And then he was making comments about this. And he said that, well, as for us at City TV, if Nana Abrokwa says this is what they're doing, we will go and check. And let's take a look at that conversation we had with him.
The new thing is the introduction of what we call electronic database, which will do a referencing and a proper electronic listing of legitimate users of Premix. So I think that's the addition.
Okay.
But basically, let's bring
so just not anybody can go and buy
type
Premix.
of dispensers we have at our 4 stations closer to the people, so that we can dispense one. Secondly, make sure you dispense to people who are supposed to be legitimate users.
Yeah.
Now, here's the trick. So they are purposely for the to be used by society. The societies. You don't know society.
because they say it's 7 cedis per gallon, right?
You don't know society.
Society. Oh, finally society.
Oh no, Charlie. No, I'm devastated.
Oh no.
Number society.
Oh, I can't number.
No, society.
Society is a Ghana word for outboard motor.
Oh, okay.
Wow. The Premix is for use
new.
in the society.
This is new to me.
Oh, okay. Wow. So the society people, they will use that thing. But you first register to be part because you own the canoe, right?
Okay.
Now, when you own the canoe, we assume that
exactly.
go, so you use it.
Yes.
Now, what if the canoe is out of order, which happens regularly? And at times, it actually goes out of use. But they are still members.
And they still get the
these are the little loopholes. I mean, it will be exceptional cases, but it will be good to see this thing implemented. Maybe not with the aim of eradicating the problems, but minimizing it to acceptable levels.
Yeah.
So he says that Nungua is working well. We will go to Nungua and check with the people and see. Now, if it's working, then we'll also push to make sure that
well, we'll go to Nungua and check and see, and that's exactly what we did. Our colleague Nia Ikwe-Okain went to Nungua to see exactly what was happening on the ground, and if indeed, as we were told, the automation of fuel distribution has been implemented. Let's take a look at this.
Premix fuel is a highly subsidized petroleum product, which is very key to the activities of fishermen. I mean the artisanal fishermen in the inland and marine fisheries sector, because it helps them to power their outboard motors for their fishing expedition. But over the period, there's been numerous complaints of shortage of this petroleum product, which has often been attributed to diversion and also hoarding by some persons who may not be fishermen or who may even be fishermen, but then to sell them at exorbitant prices when they are in shortage, and due to this particular situation, government has planned to digitize the sale of this particular petroleum product, and so it has piloted a particular project which seeks to automate the premix fuel. In this particular instance, we would have a mini pump station at the various landing sites to ensure that the fuel product is actually discharged based on the card that you have and the registration that you have done with the card before you would be able to access the premix fuel. So we would want to speak to the administrator of the National Premix Secretariat and find out more from him regarding this particular project.
As I speak to you now, the ministry has rolled out even a pilot at Nungua. So when you go to Nungua, canoe owners have a unique card. Every canoe has a card, and if you don't have that card, it means you can't purchase premix fuel. So as I speak to you now, all the canoe owners along the coast line, that is Volta region, Central region, Western region, and then Greater Accra region, have been registered. We would have to register all the canoes. That is the first step. So in collaboration with the Fisheries Commission, we've registered all the canoes along the coast, and the cards have been printed. The next stage is to distribute the cards to them. And this whole automation system is going to look like mini filling stations. You know, we want to look at a holistic approach to this whole phenomenon. It's going to have a back end, approach to it, where we can also sit in our office and then monitor who is buying fuel or which canoe is buying fuel and in which quantities. And also we can also be able to tell the quantity of fuel in each landing beach. So if we supply fuel today to, let's say, landing beach A, and then by tomorrow everything gets finished, we can ask questions.
Behind me is a mini pump station that has been erected by the government for the automated distribution of premix fuel here at Nungua. This is part of the pilot program by the government for the distribution of the premix fuel as part of plans to prevent hoarding and diversion. And here at Nungua, we would want to find out from the fishermen how they are able to access the premix fuel, and also speak to those manning the facility on how they distribute.
Na fill machine na one kokola ke afi tin lo afi jo mami ni
3 to 4
afi tin mami ni na fi machine na ka de chun le
akechon many machine
akwa chun machine ehin ni na fi kokuru eni ga ni chun okwa chun je ni ba pick ke dana ba fu abu
ni ke pick mini ni bi ko me chun ye
no ji galo abo no ba ye le ba ni ma ka de chun dana ba ni fu abu
se card ne chun ake o lele no ke ya wo le
no ke ya wo egbe ke bodent e bo gbe noji lele egbe ne le ko ba na le egbe ke bodent e bo le che bo gbe no mo fe mo yen ke ba hi ja lele che lo le ji be ke tumbu dan do ba nyu o ba nyu kwa
ni bo on san ne ke
ni ji
fu ele
o pe e ko 2 weeks 2 weeks see ko ka ji a 3 weeks can be ban 1 month ka 1 month she ye bo awo 2 weeks ele mo ye bo awo mo se hin fiu fe e ko ba 1 month can be ni
wane ka de wonye lele nama ke lele egbe ke lele ID nama na ga register le no meji ni bi ni yom.
No, in a mina can GR, mini
GR means Greater Accra. LK Ledukuku Crow. Number 076. No dilele nama ke Nungua any leleje.
No venture can no man a lelekoi.
Ovane.
Okay, Nina can lemon.
Ovane e tema. Biane wa wufen wa ya fitmo ya dama pamplam be o. Lele chimo fenti tema
ni bono yu ake lele tema ni onye kada ye biene be obanyo kai fuele ko
ogwai fuele biene without any ahon fuele habu ko yen ko ahon habu
chimi twan ke ni kada yo de ni de lebe bie kemoko moko banye e ya ne ya he ya be ni no chede nchebe bie
dabi ke amabaye keje onani ye awabu
okay babo leona
Leona le work be by na at least Bosco need monani ni traga Mose ni get no tumo tuoni ale work le be by here in Lagasi be wule no edi money kemoko ni jese alo moko ni talele mi keke won ale da wotwa Bosco agasi asimashine elele wule no emene be by petrol ani le tunlelo dani wabafo petrol ale
bo vitamin ni kwa pump station no ni ji machine na afa jame mini ji gbajano to no ka fonshi bona afa ni at design komen akatwe kena me echo
okay fa beni yo le peji ni won ni ye wolo ni ga recordo agasi ke moko ba here lele nungole ni fi number 14 e ba e petrol one drum ingma iskafi on again o bina ba oni eta fe min le skabini wo nombo ona no moko nye ahun le keke ni ketmo e kula ba kon ta fe mo moko ise ko kutoku em ka ba o sigana kan de enye o mene wo fi ne gen ona mene ska e ya nwe wolu erente yuda se e wo kedi moko ko e ba ba na gasi kedi moko moni de niska lo moni e collector ska be problem ba je because
onye he oska e bi
o fa ne
na monye bo
akonta wo chama be committee ka gbe na committee tax ni wo fi akonta eni sani fuel ska na api no mi secretary mi ani apio where 50% ni apio commercial bank mo famo company ke account number no kedi me ni ba
onye pio ke ha oil company se ni ke ba allo Premix committee ya
wo pio ha oil company se
no mi ayoke goga wangala wo yo goga ni afio shima machine ba ne ewa eko esueshin aba fe gregre mo go mba bi no machine le wa renche kenya yeah
nka onya mi awie na awie aka ka ba net mo 3-4 years ne minta mo bia ka within na kan 3-4 years nya no aka shortage ko ba alo nya na ko nya kachuni
shortage ya mini
Premix fuel
no ho aka o da shortage ba le be eko esueshin wo bon woto le wo na ka fe
All right.
Yes. So that was a report by our colleague Ni Aikwe Okai, and it seems pretty comprehensive. You know what they're doing at Nungua. But yesterday, one of the concerned people that we spoke to was the chief fisherman at Gomwa Nyanyano, and he's on the line with us. I want to find out from him if what he makes of this development so far. Yeah.
Yes. Nana Utriafo is on the line. Good morning, Nana. Thanks for joining us again on Breakfast Daily.
Good morning.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
So did you, what do you make of the development so far as what is happening in Nungua?
Oh, thank you. I think that's the rating every landing is want to come to his landing. But what they have done there, I don't think they will have any problem, because nobody can come and buy cars. Also, if you don't have canoe, you cannot have the car. Because since there is no automatic, that automatic card here, each and every one go to the filling station and buy a filling fuel for himself. Sometimes people will come, oh, I want 7 gallons to go and do something. If you don't want to give me, it will bring trouble. But since this card is being introduced, I think it is going to solve all the problems, and nobody will come there and struggle with that. Oh, I'm buying Premix fuel. for my work or any other thing.
So, Rafo, do you, concerning all the issues that you had before, do you think that what the pilot that Nungua has in place answers all your challenges, or do you see any other problems that still need to be addressed?
From what I heard from your reporter,
Yes.
I think it has answered all my concerns and problems.
Okay.
Because if all running this to be given this machine, there will be no problem again.
All right. So you're looking forward to receiving your cards and being introduced to the automated system.
Yes, of course.
Good.
Yes, of course. But I don't know if they will bring the card into Kanu we have registered from my landing list, or they will come here again to see if that, because most of the canoes have not been registered.
Okay.
We have more than 80 to 100 canoes which has not been registered.
Okay.
Okay. That's good information.
Yeah.
I know yesterday the Secretariat had said that cards were ready, at least for most of the marine fisher folk, and they were going to be distributed. So it will be interesting to see whether or not it covers those canoes, or now they're now going to register and onboard those that haven't been captured yet. But I suppose we'll find out that information from the Premix Fuel Secretariat.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nanafo, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we've also been joined in studio by our colleague Kojo Akoto Boate, and from the City Breakfast Show team. And Kojo, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I've not seen you guys this year, in person.
Like that.
I've been watching you on TV. Okay, you are glowing.
Oh, thank you. It's always good to see you.
This one
I'm
looks
glad
like you had
you're
a lot of fun over there.
I did.
Yeah. No, but I know you had fun.
Oh, I was
roaming.
I was home.
Yeah.
The few times that I had to leave home, I had to go to your area, the Afram Plains area, where you.
my newly adopted area.
Yes. I had to go to Afram Plains. A trip to Akuse.
Akuse.
Yeah,
that's a nice part of that.
Everything has been just resting.
Good.
Eating a lot.
It's important. It's important. Okay.
So this matter of Premix one, now automation of the system, which I kind of like, because I'm even asking myself now that why is it taking so long? Because we've had automatic machines for the rest of the country for, I don't know, 30 years or more. Why are we now talking, automation for fisher folk? But at least better late than never, I guess, and then to see that it's successfully working in Nungua, and they're now looking to roll it out across, the coastline.
I think it's a good thing. If you even look beyond the fisher folks, anyway, I think that it's taken us so long because the activities are a bit more informal. So if you are going to digitalize their operations, you need to also educate them and put structures in place that they can actually use.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the reasons it might have taken long. But if you look at our petroleum industry as a whole, over the years, a lot has been put into automating and digitalizing the petroleum industry. I remember 5 or 6 years ago, we on the Breakfast Show started demanding of the government to look at hot products. And hot products are products that come into the system that are meant to be probably exported or something, but are rerouted back into the system. And because they don't pay certain levies and taxes, they're able to release into the system all sorts of issues. And there are issues of contamination and so many things. You know what the NPA did? They digitalized their logistics system.
Okay.
Where trucks now have trackers, so you pick from, say, Tema, and you're going to Burkina. It has to go to Burkina. you cannot divert it at Paga or some place and bring it back into the country.
It'll be traced.
Yes, and that was costing us, when we did the calculations, I think some 400 million Ghana cedis a year, or is it dollars? I've forgotten the currency, but it was 400 million. Yes, it got the vice president to speak to, an issue that the vice president had to speak to, and the NPA was innovative enough to digitalize their value chain and their logistics system, such that if you're an OMC or a fuel trader, you cannot cheat the system. So the 400 million that the state was losing, now we are not losing it. Now, if you look at the premix space, for example, I was saying earlier that I went to the Afram Plains. That was, I think, last week. When I got to Adoso, where you take the ferry to cross the lake, I saw people buying fuel. So you see an Aboboya come and park a tricycle with jerry cans, they pack, they fill, off they go. You see a child with a gallon, they pack, they fill, off they go. Question, how do the people buying know that they are getting the right quantity for what they are paying for? How do we ensure that the premix they are also selling, they are selling to the right people? Because we all subsidize the premix. The idea of having the premix is to have fuel that fisher folks can afford to buy to go out to fish, so we get fish to eat. So it's a highly subsidized material, and because it's subsidized, like fertilizer, once you subsidize something, people who can get that product to do other activities end up getting higher margins and make a lot of money. So automating and digitalizing that space then ensures that what we are using our taxes to pay for, that's what it must do. And the people who must benefit from it are not shortchanged. So it does two things. Value or value assurance for us, the taxpayers, and then assurance for the end users that, look, you're also getting what the taxpayers are paying for. And when you're buying, you're also not being shortchanged. If you're buying 2 liters, it's 2 liters you get. If you're buying 1 gallon, it's 1 gallon you get. So I think it's a very, very good thing. The most important thing is for the Premix Fuel Secretariat and the administration to deal with institutions like the NCCE, to deal with the local traditional systems, to educate the fisher folks. Because if you go to every landing beach, there's a chief fisherman. And this person is the pivot around which a lot of activity, a lot of policy, a lot of functions are performed. So we need to work with them for them to understand what the whole thing is about, so that the fisher folks also understand that this is not being done to put them at a disadvantage. It's actually being done to ensure that they get value for money, and they get and the products are not diverted elsewhere that would deny them access to the product. And premix politics is big in this country. Outboard motors, premix politics. So if we are spending, we must see the returns. If they are not getting the fuel, it means they cannot go as far as they want to go to catch fish. And these days, they have to go way too deep into the ocean to get fish. So if you don't have enough stock, then you get somewhere, you get to a point where you don't have the fish stock in the ocean, and you have. So I think it's a fantastic thing. I think it's a fantastic thing.
Do you think? I know they're still trying to sort out the automation, handing out the cards, etc. Can they get to a point where transactions are also cashless to even, further sanitize the system? We heard, in the report that they still accept cash, and they say they take accounts and all of that. But where there's human factor and cash transactions, there's always room for things to happen. So do you think that's a bit too much to expect in the near future? Or you think eventually they could get there?
At most in the next 5 years. I foresee a lot of cashless transactions happening in all spaces in the informal sector. I travel a lot, and I hardly do cash. I hardly do cash. So, and I know how digital adoption of Momo has been. So I see that happening. When I went to the Afram Plains, I was buying fish with Momo. Momo. Yes, I bought fish with Momo.
It's a very, very exciting thought,
I go to all places and I pay with Momo. So that can happen easily at the and with POSs available and all. I see that happening, and that also ensures that we actually do proper revenue assurance, because the committees, they get the products at the various landing beaches. They have to sell and account for it. Once you have the cashless system, the money could even go directly to the secretariat, and whatever margins should be paid to the committees for the management of the local operations will then be transferred to them. So I see that happening. It won't take more than 5 years for us to see majority premix transactions being cashless, because now everybody is getting a Ghana card. We are linking to Momo, we are linking to SNIT, we are linking to everything. And it will even be easier to do all these things because everything is now linked. So I see that happening. I think 5 years is even far. If the automation is done and there are POSs at the place, and you go Nungua, what's your Momo number? They take the Momo number, they punch, your PIN comes, you enter. It's going to happen because the systems are there, and they are very well integrated into everything we do in the country at the moment. So I see that happening.
I'm also a little thoughtful about the rapid, replication of what they've done in Nungua across board. Because I think that the quicker we do it, the better. So that all the systems are in place. It doesn't matter where you are. If you happen to fish in different waters, you need to buy fuel. You still have your card. It's synchronized across board. You can still buy fuel wherever you go.
I'll give you an example. So when you go to the north, where we've worked around some outgrower schemes, I know businesses that give outgrower support through Momo. Agro centers lended platform. They do micro lending to farmers in the remotest places of the country with Momo, because if I have to give a farmer, say 200 cedis to buy a bag of fertilizer and some seeds, and I'm a business in Accra, having an agent in Tumu, in a village in Tumu, paying that agent, getting an office and everything, and paying 200 here may not make business sense. So Agro Center, their lended platforms,
especially with
gives a lot of support to farmers across the country with Momo. And they pay back with Momo. Even this AFB, they are quick loan. A lot of people, both in the formal and informal sectors, are doing that. There are outgrower schemes up north that have digital platforms where farmers are able to enter some form of information as to their production and everything. We are not lost like that. When people say, "Oh, the informal sector,"
business is going on.
Most Ghanaians understand the basics of some of these things. And if you have USSD systems, you don't need smartphones. Start something. It's going to work, and I see that really working out.
No, I think it's a far cry from where we were, let's say 10 years ago, where people were fearful of somebody taking their money because it was digital. We are at a place where people have become generally very comfortable with the whole.
In fact, this year we took Bronya through Momo. Brakojo, we go there. No, we say, I'm in a crowd. I'm not coming to the village. No, I don't say Momo. We took Bronya through Momo. So I'm sure if Christ had born in this modern time, the three wise men would have crossed the desert. That's Momo.
Straight up.
Momo me.
But that's why it's so attractive, as you were saying, for taxation. The e-levy, I mean.
But you see, anyway, maybe you understand this a little better, because let's just sort of round up this conversation on this. The e-levy conversation, it's on transactions, isn't it? And I'm trying to understand, if you're taxing a transaction and the same amount of money is moving back and forth between three people, 3 times, value of the amount hasn't gone up. It's the same amount that's gone round, and it's being taxed every time it moves. How is that even make sense?
Well, Parliament is meeting, is it next week or next 2 weeks, to discuss the e-levy?
I think it's next
I'm sure the government and those who propose the e-levy have gone back to the drawing board to think through it, and they'll present some better alternatives. But from the way I see it, I think that it's not a smart levy to put on Ghanaians. I think there are opportunities to raise revenue, opportunities that we must look into and invest in. To raise revenue. If we are raising revenue from people's transactions, so I owe Kokui 500 Ghana cedis. sending Kokui the 500. I'm paying all these charges, then I pay e-levy on it.
Yeah.
Kokui probably took, maybe I bought a watch from Kokui, and you were there. Yes, so value chain.
Yeah.
Let's use rice.
Yeah.
I'm producing rice.
Yes.
You are a distributor.
Yeah.
So the rice, my production cost is say 175 Ghana cedis, and I'm giving it to you for 175 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
Kokui is a bulk buyer who is also going to sell to others. You give it to Kokui for 185.
Yeah.
Then Kokui goes to sell to Evans, the cameraman, for 190.
Yeah.
Then Evans sells on the market for 200. Now, if Bernard Avler is buying 200 from Evans, he's paying e-levy on it.
Yeah.
When Evans is paying Kokui, what's
paying? You also pay
e-levy.
Then
Kokui paying you on the same 200 Ghana cedis. So you are paying, then you are paying me, and you are paying e-levy on it. I think it's
problematic.
Too tight. Too tight of a tax. Opportunities abound for us to increase our productivity. You see, if GDP grows, then government revenues will also grow.
Yeah.
The conversation
That
about
is the issue,
increasing production, we should look at it. Look, if you plant 1,000 acres of maize and you invest, say, 2 million in planting 1,000 acres of maize, you are getting about 600 to 700,000 cedis back as profit.
Wow.
Now, if Kweku wants to plant, Kweku cannot do that. How about we encourage private sector and even the public sector to take up a lot of the lands that we've abandoned, develop them into agro-industrial enclaves, 10-acre lots, so that you cannot do 1,000 acres, but you can afford to do 10 acres. Kweku can do 10 acres. A lot of us in the city are putting money in these 10 acres, but the general 1,000 acres have been revenues generated, profits generated, 700,000 on our investment. Government is taxing that production. And if you have 1,000 acres, 1,000, every district, even 1,000, 261 districts times 700,000. That's the money we are getting.
Wow.
And this is minimalist calculation. Do soya, do maize, rice. We are importing maize in the country as we speak. We import soya. We import rice. Just do on these three things. And I think some of these strategies are there and can be easily implemented. Agric alone can solve half of our revenue problems if we are increasing production. So I think that 1D1F, Planting for Food and Jobs, GEA, Ghana Entrepreneurship Agency, all those, EA, even National Service, state institutions with lands, let's see how we can maximize the potential of the resources that we have to produce more, process more, and then consume more of our own things. The e-levy, maybe we are in a tight corner, but I don't think it's something that can take us into the future. I don't think it's something that can drive the development we want
are looking for,
and the burden it will put on us.
All right. Fantastic.
We'll take a quick break.
Yes, let's do that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.